Good morning to all, and welcome to the last session of this Transport Forum. So thank you for still being here, and happy to discuss with you today of urban ropeways. So ropeways are something which is often considered as a tourist facility, ski resort facility, and not so often thought about in an urban context. So this session and this workshop intends to show all the potential of having cable cars, ropeway systems, into an urban context. And just to, as a little bit of handshaking at the beginning of the session, I would like to know on this floor, who has taken a cable car? Who has experienced a cable car? Whatever the area, ski resort, tourism. So, okay, a third maybe of the room. Who has ever experienced an urban cable car? So not for the ski resort. Still a few. A lot of consultants, I'm afraid. So, okay, there's some room to move forward. And if you enjoyed the experience in a ski resort or for tourism purposes, the experience can be transformative for urban mobility. I will have a few words of introduction onto that before presenting our panel and delving into the topic from the different angles our panelists will have on the subject. Just a few words on the opportunity of urban ropeways. First point is that they fill a gap, actually, and they go quite nicely between mass transit, metros, BRTs, whatever, and smaller forms of transit, paratransit, buses, whatever. So there's a sweet spot for cable systems in a city, and it can be found as a full-fledged transport mode into a city. It's a transport mode of its own right, able to connect communities, mobility generators, and transport hubs. They have, these urban ropeways, their specific added value, and our panelists will go much more into that, but just to give a flavor of it, they overfly obstacles very efficiently. Obstacles be density, infrastructure, rivers, slope. They have a limited footprint, towers and stations, unlike a metro, unlike a BRT. And they have some speed, capacity, and frequency features that are definitely very interesting in the world of urban transport. And last point, regarding their opportunity, they're adaptive to mobility needs and to city context. They can work as feeders to bigger transport. They can work also as backbone to a transport network in some cities. And I like to compare for that Medellin in Colombia, where the cable car is a feeder to the metro, and La Paz in Bolivia, where the cable system is a backbone network of its own. So it's really adaptive and can fit to a lot of needs and a lot of configurations in different cities. ADB is well aware of this potential and intends to support different cable car projects. And in order to nurture the emergence of such projects, organizes exposure study tours to cable cars. And we have already carried out two of these tours, one with Indian stakeholders 2 years ago, and another one with stakeholders from Nepal last year in November. We went to Paris, we went to France, and were able to visit two very distinct urban cable cars operating in the country. And just to give a view of the potential of cable cars, this is Kathmandu, a very dense city, little room to have urban transport to fit in, an overview of the city, and just to compare with cities where we have already some cable cars running and operating. So this is La Paz in Bolivia with the red line of Mi Teleférico, and this is Medellin in Colombia with one of the lines taking from the heights of the city down to the metro. So I think that whatever the density you can meet, and there are a lot of very dense cities to be found in the Asia-Pacific area, we feel that there is a potential. And we feel that what has been done in South America can certainly be translated in Asia, in the Pacific area, to fit the needs of the local cities. And we'll go for a short video delivering the main aspects and results of our study tour with our Nepalese colleagues.
The government of Nepal and the Asian Development Bank are on a long-lasting partnership in the transport sector. Looking at innovations and new mobility solutions, we see a great potential in urban cable car system in Nepal and in the Kathmandu Valley. With the involvement of the governments of Austria and France, the study tour is for delegates from Nepal to gain advanced exposure to urban cable car system and meet with all stakeholders.
Kathmandu is a historic city, but from the traditional unplanned city, the land acquisition is very much costly for the surface transport.
There is a lot of traffic jam, and there are some valley outskirts which do not have transport facilities, proper transport facilities. Option to go for urban cable car could be a promising solution, but we need to compare with the different modes of transport.
Before this tour, cable cars were in my mind only associated with tourism and mountainous terrain. But this week has fundamentally expanded my perspective on viewing cable car systems as serious urban transit. So all in all, this study tour has inspired confidence and commitment in us that a sustainable, modern and innovative transportation future for Lalitpur as well as Kathmandu is within our reach.
ADB's continuous technical and financial support with coordination among our development partners will be crucial for the development of sustainable urban cable car system in Nepal, especially in Kathmandu.
Cable car would be one appropriate option because it takes less space, and the crossings, the highways and other crossings has very less interruption for cable car. So this, if we utilize a cable car system, it would be better in Kathmandu Valley as a public transport.
The ADB will continue to provide technical and financial support as project preparation is now being initiated. And we hope to see a urban cable car system in Kathmandu in a very near future.
I will have very short, as time is ticking, and I have 3 minutes left, so as I will insist on each panelist's time, I will be short myself, just to present a few takeaways from these study tours. This story it's a long story, difficult to make short, all these technological aspects, and I trust my manufacturers colleagues to do it more. But what we do in urban context is more about detachable grip gondolas than non-detachable ones, meaning that we can provide a lot of frequency and a lot of gondolas when we have a cable that runs all the time in operating hours. And that the other type of cables is more for resorts. It's like back and forth, stop and go systems that we don't take so much in urban context. We visited two types of cable. One mono cable in the Greater Paris area, which was yet to open, but was not yet opened. And I will let Aglaé later on to give some of her thoughts on the system. And we also visited in Toulouse a bigger type of cable, which is called the 3S, with 3 ropes actually, which cares for much bigger gondolas. They carry each carry 36 passengers, and with a PPHPD that can go up to 5,000. So it's a powerful system that delivers a strong urban service in the city. I will keep short, so we'll not go into all the details of the development of Toulouse, but one interesting point and what a differentiating point between the two systems is the capacity, though both have strong capacities. It's also the insertion into the city, into the landscape, with very few pylons possible for a 3S system like in Toulouse. We can have here, the maximum span between 2 pylons is more than 1 kilometer, actually, where we have more towers and pylons in the other types of gondolas. This system well fits into the transport network, and we see that in Toulouse, it relates bus lines, metro lines, and will have extensions to catch other types of transports. And just a few pictures of it. This is one terminus station. This is one tower, 60 meter high, and this is the other end terminus station. All the machinery that powers the system and the bull wheel that holds the cables. And I now come to a few points of attention that we took away from this study tour and will keep into our projects, our cable car projects into the future. 7 points, quickly. First one is about political and population buy-in. It's really important to have a sponsor, and we need to have a powerful political will from day one and a powerful involvement of population from day one into the project, also to prevent any NIMBY, not in my backyard approach. Affordability and financial viability is important. To make it short, we can recover OPEX with fair revenues. We will not recover much of the CAPEX, part of it, hopefully. Early and comprehensive planning is necessary to have a cable to fit into the overall transport network. There can be some needs of the adaptation of the regulatory context when we are thinking also especially of overflying aspects, property aspects. The cable car, we fly over properties, and there are some compensations. There are some ways to have the project to go through, and some initiatives to be taken to have this project to move forward. Project ownership and organization are important. Procurement and contractual framework are also a key aspect, thinking especially of the integration of operation and maintenance. So this also has to be thought very early into the project, not only to think about its implementation and construction, but to think further of all the contractual framework that will allow an efficient operation and an efficient maintenance of the system. And last point, comprehensive design. Cable cars have a small footprint, but they still have a footprint, and they need to be integrated into a broader environment with a lot of landscape, with a lot of public spaces and accessibility topics to be addressed while constructing it. These were like a few introductory words into our session, and I will be happy now to welcome our panelists on stage. I will call them one by one, and we'll be happy to have them to come. Aglaé De Gros is the head of the Institute of Urbanism of the Technical University of Grasse. Hello, Aglaé, and has a lot of insight into urban design and the interfaces between urban design and transport and mobility projects. Happy to call on stage also two manufacturers, the two main manufacturers of cable car systems. Nicolas Pralon from Poma, who has an extended experience in urban transport projects, especially in South America. And I will call also Mr. Fortunado Sanchez from Doppelmayr, the other main cable manufacturer, Austrian-based. Fortunado is based in the Philippines and develops all the contacts to develop projects for Doppelmayr in the country. Another angle to be addressed with Mr. Manoj Podel, who is from the IME Group and special advisor to the chairman. And IME Group is involved in operating existing cable systems in Nepal. So we have a pleasure to have an operator's point of view in our panel. And last but not least, we have the public authorities who are also very well represented. I invite Mr. Keshab Sharma from Nepal. Mr. Sharma was until very recently the Secretary of MOPIT, who is the Ministry of Physical Infrastructure of Transport of Nepal. And I invite Mr. Prashant Jain from India, who is Vice President in charge of Ropeways at the National Highway Logistic Management Company. So we have a very comprehensive view over the industry and over the projects. And I will now let the floor to each of them to present their angles and their view over Ropeway projects, and we'll welcome to some questions to each of them. Please, Aglaé, happy to hear your thoughts on cable number one in Paris.
Yes, thank you. As mentioned, I live in Austria, and for me the cable car is to go to the mountain and ski. But I think as an urban planner, it's also very interesting to solve some problem that we have in urban planning. First of all, this slide presents you Paris and the Grand Paris strategy. And the blue line, that's the cable car one, the line that I would like to talk to you about. What is interesting is that you see that this line fits in a bigger picture. And that's maybe point one that is very important for an urban planner. One of my students made a doctorate on the Grand Paris, and it was really interesting to witness that while the mayor, Anne Hidalgo, in 8 years, she had a very fluctuating discourse about the transformation of Paris. My student analyzed the 8 years article in Le Monde and Le Figaro, two different political journals, and he discovered that Anne Hidalgo, she argument about the Grand Paris for once an improvement of the tourism, one the ecology, one the patrimonium, and so and so. Then the discourse was fluctuant, but the master plan was all the time the same. And I think that's really a learning that a big picture that is consistent and remain over the years is important. And therein, there is the cable car. What is interesting is that this line connect the periphery and, well, let's say not the core of the city, but at least a more central area of the city. And as we know as planner, the periphery is really tricky. Yesterday we talked about the relation between the periphery and the center with the active mobility. It's really tricky because we it's by definition a very fragmented area. That means that colleagues of mine define it as a kind of carpet of pocket of development, which are really different, related by asphalt, highways, rail, waterways. It's extremely fragmented. That means that bridging those and related to the center needs a lot of bridges or connections or link that are missing at the moment. And it makes it really difficult. And that's why the cable car is quite effective in this way, because as you can see here, we represent the different barriers that exist in this periphery. It just go over it. And even you can use them because they are not built, then you will not disturb people by having your cable car on the top of it. Then we had a lot of data talk these days. Then I went from Graz to Paris to test it for you, because I want to be sure from what I'm talking about today. And as you see, in comparison with the different mode of transport, the advantage for me is that regarding to the car, the cable car has a fixed time. With the car in the periphery, you are often in the traffic jam, and that means that there is a great fluctuation in the time. While with the bike, you see that it's almost the same time, but the disadvantage is, of course, with the bike, the weather. Also, by doing this for e-bike, I know that it's a very expensive infrastructure in the periphery, because you have to bridge a lot of those barriers, and it's quite complex. Also, it takes a while to be developed, yes. But, and of course, the cable car in regarding to the bike is more inclusive. You lack the flexibility, and it's maybe a bit less healthy because you don't move that much. But it's in Paris really interesting. This will be my last slide. Those are pictures I made there. It's really interesting that it's conceived really as a smooth transport. That means that it doesn't stop, but at the end of the line, you will have also a car sharing system, a bike sharing system. That means that it's integrated. As it is quite smooth, you can see that people, they take the stroller or the bike within the cabin, which is quite good, because that means that you can go on further in the center with your bike or in a wheelchair, so it's quite inclusive. Now, there was at the beginning a lot of criticism from the inhabitants. They were really, because it was something new, they were afraid that it will be a bit similar to a kind of elevated metro line. But in fact, as it is quite, I think the planning is quite subtle, and it follows those barriers. It's not that much disturbing, and it provides very nice view, I have to say. And we see that now that it's really built, the inhabitants, they do not complain anymore. I think it fits well, but you see that there was a lot of, I would say, discussion with the inhabitant to make the line at the good place, that it do not disturb the building fabrics and the inhabitants. And then the last point, some critics were also mentioned for the safety within the cabin. I didn't experience any problem, but maybe a recommendation would be to make one on the fifth cabin, a woman cabin or something like that. That would be maybe a good point to solve this issue, because I know that maybe later at night could be a bit problematic. That's it then. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Aglaé, for insisting on this seamless experience of the cable one, connecting smoothly to the metro, and the experience aspect also. There's a sense of experience when you take an urban cable car, and it's pleasant. It's sometimes even much more pleasant than a ride in the metro. So that's something also to bear in mind. Our next speaker will be Nicolas Pralon from Poma. So happy to hear from the manufacturers.
Hello. Thank you, Harold, for the introduction, and thank you, ADB, for inviting us today. So my name is Nicolas, and I'm working for Poma. Just quickly about Poma, we are a 90 years old company. We started in the mountains to move material and people in ski resort afterwards. Then we moved to touristic application, and now we are on a flat land in cities and trying to move people for urban transport. I wanted to start by this map, just to show you basically where the urban transport of cable car applications are made. And as you can see, there's no cable car in urban transport in Southeast Asia. This is not normal, and things have to change. We've got more than 100 kilometers of urban cable car. We've got more than 100 stations. We are able to move up to 85,000 passengers per hour in all these countries worldwide, and not yet in Southeast Asia. Better. So maybe it will be a bit redundant with what Harold presented just before, but I just wanted to go back into a couple of figures about cable car system. So there is different technology, but what the most important information is that we can move people up to 20, 30, 40 kilometers per hour with a difference between the pylons up to like 600 meter for mono cable, or even 1 kilometer plus for the 3S system. So we've got a wide range of products able to match the needs. Oh, I think I missed this slide. That's why I was a bit confused. Sorry for that. So this is also to show you where we fit in the urban transport network. We are not fully comparable to train, to metro, to bus network. Our systems are really used for the last mile connection. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 kilometers is usually what we do in urban transportation. And we're able to move up to 6,000, 8,000 people per hour. So we're not a mass transit, but we are a good feeder solution. So we are perfectly suitable in the overall environment of the existing urban transport system. I will just show you quickly a video, which will talk more than me. So this video will show you how we can integrate cable car system worldwide, how easy and convenient is it for the people to actually use it, how it can be integrated within the city landscape very easily, because of the very small footprint we need for the towers and for the station. This one is in Peru, where we can actually have cable car system right in the middle of the road. Access can be also on a very, very easy area, very small area. We don't need much space and much infrastructure for the station. You can take your bike on board, you can take strollers. So it's very convenient for everybody to use it. So as you can see, we can fit a bit anywhere, and this is very important to be deployable in Asian cities. One of the key points will be this intermodal connection with bus system, metro system, train system, and cable car system. So we can operate for sure day and night from 5, 6 in the morning until midnight if need be. We can cross river, bit of sea. This is in New York City. So as you can see on all these images, the system are well deployed worldwide, and we need to find a way to also convince people here in the area to develop some also. I will just zoom off a couple of examples of cable car system worldwide. So on the left side, Santo Domingo, we've got already 2 lines, existing line, and the third one is being constructed as we speak. So it's also fully integrated within the urban transport network. In Ecuador, in Guayaquil, we've got the one running in the center of the road. There's also connection and river crossing to allow people to move from one riverbank to another. And Toulouse, as explained by Harold, is connecting metro line to hospital and to university. Medellin is the first urban cable car. It was started in 2004. Now we've got a total of 6 lines, 15 stations, around 14 kilometers of cable car, as you can see, deployed all around the network. So this is a feeder line to allow people to come from remote places in the city to the main backbone of the urban transport system. There is an average of 130,000 people using the cable car every day. So same in Medellin, a couple of figures. The capacity of the system is up to 4,000 people per hour and per direction. The speed is around maximum 6 meters per second. The cabin can fit like 12 people in it. And line K, just for one line, we've got like 45,000 passengers per day, which is pretty decent. Since 2004, more than 400 million passengers have used cable car system. I will go quickly through advantages. Harold has been tackling this subject also. So minimal ground impact, we just need a couple of square meters for the tower. We fly above river, like in the Guaya River. We put 7 towers just to cross the river to allow people to connect both banks of the river. It's an exclusive route of transportation, always the same traveling time as mentioned by my colleague just before, so which is really a plus for the passengers. Construction is also pretty quick. It will take like 1 year, 1 year and a half from the beginning of the construction to have equipment operational, depending on the specificity of system, but this can be pretty quick to deploy. The intermodal integration is also very important, and accessibility, everybody can use it. Couple of other data, Medellin is operating 7,000 hours per year and is available at 99.6%. Investment costs are usually lower and for sure lower compared to other transportation means, and the social impact is very important. So what next? Maybe in Manila, we can have a cable car system, we can find the right corridor, and we can deploy something in the coming years, hopefully. Thank you.
Thank you, Nicolas, for showing that cable cars are a mature technology, actually, ready to deploy. It's not about trying something weird. It's about implementing something that works, and it has been proven in many countries. I will welcome now our representative from Doppelmayr on stage. Please, Fortunato, we hear you on the experience of Doppelmayr, and happy to share, along with Poma, what can be done by the main key manufacturers in this world about cable cars. Thank you, Fortunato.
Thank you, Harold. Good morning, everyone. So my topic is connecting multiple modes of transport through ART. So ART, or aerial ropeway transit, is a new mode of mass transport. This name aligns with the already established modes of transport such as LRT, BRT, and MRT. So since the 1950s, cable cars were used usually for theme parks and ski resorts. Starting in 2004, it was used as a means of urban transport in Medellin, Colombia. Now it's being used in 40 cities all over the world. Cable car is perceived to be slow and low capacity. But the latest models of cable car can now transport up to 400 jeepneys or minibuses per hour per direction. So cable cars or ART operating speed is just 18% lower than the 3 lines of LRT in Metro Manila. In the road network, the number of lanes is matched with the vehicle traffic demand. Similarly, for a transport network, the type of mode of mass transport is matched with the passenger demand. So ART, BRT, and tram is suitable for medium capacity corridors. So to illustrate the role of ART, we use this proposed ART network in Metro Manila. ART is complementary to high capacity mode of transport such as LRT, or it can also complement low capacity mode of transport such as a bus. ART can either complement or compete with its counterpart, medium capacity mode of transport such as tram and BRT. ART is best suited for medium capacity corridors. If you use instead LRT, it will incur financial losses. While LRT is suited for high demand corridors, if ART is instead used, it will earn good revenues, but it will create long lines and a lot of frustrated passengers. So this one shows that ART travels in straight lines. Actually, it makes aerial shortcuts across the city, as in this photo in La Paz, Bolivia. So in ART, there is no waiting time and the travel distances are shorter. So the overall travel time of ART is comparable to the other modes of transport such as BRT, LRT, tram, and subway. ART uses the least energy among all other modes of transport. It is the cheapest, the most inexpensive, and the most cost-effective modes of transport compared to others. You can see this in this comparison of the ART in La Paz and Metro Manila. It is obvious which is cheaper and faster to build. So in 2014, perhaps the most well-known ART was installed in La Paz, Bolivia. Since then, there has been an explosion of ART installations worldwide. So on a per kilometer basis, the Manila LRT2 is 3.1 times more expensive than the La Paz ART. Yet, in terms of ridership, the LRT in Manila has a lower ridership of 67%. So this slide shows the ART connected to multiple modes of mass transport connected at multiple interchanges. This slide shows the connections of the ART in Mexico located at the periphery. This is because Mexico already has a very good transport system. The ART in Mexico is so successful that 4 lines are now under construction. So in Mexico, the connectivity is focused on the periphery, while in Metro Manila, it's focused on the core. So in Metro Manila, it's going to be connected to LRT, commuter train, ferry, BRT, and the subway. So these are the top 3 users of ART in the world: La Paz, Medellin, and Mexico. In La Paz, 10 lines, it is connected to a standard bus, small, medium, large, depending on the width of the road, the terrain, and the transport demand. In Mexico City, the 5 lines are connected to metro, BRT, trolleybus, and commuter train. In Medellin, Colombia, it's connected to LRT, tram, and BRT. So these are the following are 3 photos of the La Paz ART. You can see here a large station because there's a commercial space there that is going to generate more income for the owner. The ART interconnection is very short because ART can be placed anywhere. Here, the ART to bus connection and the ART to another ART connection will take only 1 to 2 minutes. Here, the ART is placed on top of a road just like an LRT. So the following are the photos in Mexico. This is an ART-BRT interconnection. ART, trolleybus, metro interconnection. ART placed along a highway. So the last one is the photographs of ARTs in Medellin, Colombia. ART, LRT interconnection. ART, tram interconnection. So deboarding and boarding of an ART is very orderly even during peak hours by the use of stanchions. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Fortunato, these powerful examples. And I remember the jeepney index, which is, I think, good to have when we are here in Manila, with like 400 jeepneys taken out of the road with one single ropeway lines. Interesting. I will now welcome Manoj Podel, and we'll be happy to have an operator's point of view over cable cars, and also a financer's point of view. So we are driving another angle. Thank you, Manoj.
Thank you, Harold. So a decade of building and operating cable cars across Nepal has taught us some hard lessons about what works and just importantly, what doesn't work in Nepal. And in this presentation, I want to share both with you. Thank you to Harold, to the ADB team for convening this session. I'm Manoj Pauril. I advise chairman at IME Group and also hold other private sector roles in Nepal. So IME began as a remittance business in 1990s and today is one of the largest diversified business houses with operations across financial services, hospitality, energy, infrastructure, and digital. And interestingly, what started as a remittance business, over the past decade, we've kind of been redefined as the cable car operator. So over the past decade, the group has built what is now one of the largest investment portfolio of ropeways in South Asia, 6 projects, more than 19 kilometers of route, over 20 billion Nepali rupees of committed capital. So what I want to share is that how these systems actually get built in mountainous terrain. I know we are talking about urban terrain, and how they're financed without any sovereign support, how the governance is structured, and how do we survive the community politics or regulatory churn, and why, given that base, given that experience of operating in Nepal, Nepal could be one of the most credible places in Asia to actually take cable cars from a mountainous terrain and from tourism to urban transit. So Nepal, I think, is a natural case for cable cars. The geography is the argument. 83% of Nepal is mountainous and hills. So in this terrain, the real comparison that you're doing with mountain roads is not just the cement and steel. It's actually the life cycle cost of maintaining these infrastructure. But then the case is not new actually. So when I did some research, it was interesting that it has been recognized in development planning since at least the 1970s. What has changed is not the logic, but I think in the past decade, what the private sector has been able to build in terms of the capability to deliver, finance, and operate these systems at scale. So the 1922 Hetauda-Kathmandu cargo ropeway carried goods into Kathmandu Valley for 50 years. Unfortunately, it was decommissioned in the 1990s. I don't think it was engineering. Maybe it was to do with governance. The lesson that we need to learn is institutional, not the technical. About who runs the asset over the 30 years matters at least as much as who builds it. But then in 1998, we built the Manokamana ropeway project, and I think that was the inflection point for Nepal. It proved that pilgrimage demand above all could actually amortize an installation in a country with almost no tourism infrastructure. So today we have at least 6 operational systems, and the government has identified many more potential ropeway sites nationwide. So in terms of IME Group's own portfolio, it's actually organized deliberately across all 7 provinces. I think building nationally, it forces us to develop that institutional muscle to operate across all local jurisdictions within Nepal, rather than just concentrating in one jurisdiction. And 3 are already operational: Chandragiri since 2016, Maulakali since 2023, Lumbini Cable Car since 2023, and 3 are in execution: Pathibara in Koshi province, Jalpadevi in Sudur Paschim, and Annapurna Sikles. It is being planned in Gandaki province, and our chairman tries to compare it with Mont Blanc cable car in Europe. So hopefully that will be one of the most beautiful locations in the years to come. But then interestingly, every project is privately financed and operationally led by IME with local equity partners. So that financial discipline is precisely what makes the operational lessons transferable to the urban transit context. So we've been trying to build systems that must pay for themselves in commercial terms and not be subsidized by anyone else. So the flagship is Chandragiri, and I think here the important part is that we can only build the cable car inside a revenue ecosystem. So there is not just one revenue source, but then the ticket of cable car is just one part of 8 different revenue sources, and that has proved to be important commercially. The second one is Maulakali, and here I'd like to highlight the community-owned tourism structure. So it was not a CSR. The community is actually structured into the equity of the company, and its significant equity is held by local community as registered shareholders of the public company. And then the certain revenue from the ticket actually flows to the local government, because in Nepal social license is not optional. So projects are lost when you cannot really win local political opposition, right? So I think that is a critical lesson that we've learned, which could actually be transferred into urban scenario as well. The other one is Lumbini Cable Car, which is a commercial proof because it is very close to the Indian border, and the strategic location logic is the cross-border tourism, and also the proximity to the World Heritage Site in Lumbini. And the pipeline is expanding nationwide. So we have Pathibara, Jalpadevi, Annapurna Sikles, and these places actually serve a whole host of people who are actually not able to travel before, who wanted to, but really not able to actually go to these destinations. And I'm not going to go a lot into the technology. This is a technical slide, and the room has all the experts. So maybe I can move on to the business model. So the single most important idea is that we're in the business of destination development. So pilgrimage anchoring, it actually gives us non-cyclical demand in Nepal, which is much less elastic than, let's say, discretionary leisure, and it doesn't really disappear in a downturn, not by so much. And there are a few governance innovations I mentioned about, and the honest transition to urban transit. Yes, cities do not have temples and resorts at every stop. But the underlying lesson here is that the cable car's economics live or die on what gets built around the stations. And I think that could be one of the key lessons that we could transport to the urban setting. Station area development rights is transit-oriented development around terminals, retail concessions at stations, and integrated fare structures that capture the system's full value. And I think that is where urban cable cars become financially self-sustaining instead of perpetually subsidy dependent. So we've operated in the world's toughest terrains through monsoon and seismic zones, altitude, logistics, land, but I think there's good clean energy and safety case that we can make. And the lesson is that the binding constraint for us is regulatory, not engineering. And that's why Kathmandu Valley, I think it gives a beautiful urban opportunity for us to actually, move successfully from what we've done so far, from tourism to transit, so that we can bridge that gap. But there are some concrete asks that we have from the private sector. Maybe I can put that in person to our government counterparts, because I know my time is up. But I would like to end with a note on the Nepal's proposition. So Nepal brings a century of ropeway heritage, a decade of modern operations at a commercial scale, and a private sector that is ready to build the next generation of urban mobility. What is now required, I think, is the alignment from government, multilateral support, and a bridge from pilot to an integrated framework, and also the institutional courage to actually scale a mode that the global evidence overwhelmingly supports. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Manoj. A great entrepreneurship story, and interesting to see also the inclusion footprint with the local communities. So, yeah, something to bear in mind when you will switch in Nepal to the urban context. I will welcome now Mr. Sharma, former secretary of MOPIT, and we will have now a more public view, authority view on the cable car development potential in Nepal. Thank you, Mr. Sharma.
Thank you, Harold. Ladies and gentlemen, very good morning and namaskar. Namaskar is in Nepali. So let us start with my presentation. Okay, why cities need solutions, transport solutions? So we all know the rapid urbanization globally, and it cannot be stopped because everybody, they wish to go to the cities for their better life, employments, etc. So the public sector can play the role to facilitate to the urban people for their commute, for their housing, education like this, but cannot stop urbanization. So that we need urban solutions in the transport sector as well. So, but the urban areas almost everywhere is with the spatial constraints, hills, some settlements, dense urban cores, etc. So conventional metro and road expansion always are not feasible. They are often expensive, disruptive, and land intensive as well. So cities need transportation systems that are fast to develop, energy efficient and inclusive, and climate resilience. So why ropeways then? Yeah, it consume less land space, and it can pass above the many restrictions like road crossings, buildings, forest area. So it would be feasible for the short distance and the last mile connections. yeah, we should keep in mind that this is not the alternate of the mass transit, but the complement. It may not substitute, but complement the urban transit system, and it add the value. So global examples have proven that. In Colombia, Bolivia, we have already seen in the presentation the solution, a ropeway solution in the cities. So I think we have to consider in planning and integration and finance and delivery models during this planning of urban ropeway or cable car projects. There are challenges of policy gaps, local employment, replacement mindset somewhere we are facing in Pathivara area, right? There is a oppose from the local people. It will replace our jobs, employment. So sometimes social and environmental concern, but it is, look, this is the good solution regarding the environment, but still sometimes overrated concern on tree felling or above the conservation area, this, that. I think this is overrated. Similarly, the limited domestic capacity in our countries, we rely on European technology, especially France, Switzerland, Austria. So it is, the technology is a little bit expensive for the developing countries. But there are opportunities for rapidly growing cities to reduce the congestion, useful connecting for transport hubs, can support climate adaptation and low carbon solutions, mobility. Pilot projects can help the innovation and technology changes, of course. So in case of Nepal, we are not new for this cable car or ropeway solutions. Look, the first ropeway we had was before 100 years, before a century. Kathmandu had the cable car system that is 2 kilometers long from Halchok to Lainchaur, the transportation of the stone to build the Rana's palace, so that place is still named as Lainchaur. Lain is rope line they say, and the field is Chaur. So Lainchaur means the ropeway field. There was the station. So it is a historic, right? When there was no any mode of transportation in Nepal, neither the maritime ships nor the railways, motorways, we had ropeway from Hetauda to Kathmandu. It was completed in 1927 with the help of then British India government, and later on in 1964 it was extended to, it was 22 kilometers at that time, and 42 kilometers extended to 42 kilometers in 1964 with the assistance of USAID. So it was the primary means of transport for transporting goods, not the passengers at that time. So Hetauda cement factory, Patedana milkway in a rural area to transport the milk from the local villagers to Kathmandu. We have that type of ropeway. So regarding the passenger cable cars, our private sectors, including IMA Group, they are working on it, and we have now many cable cars, but these are basically to the touristic and pilgrim purpose, not as the mass transport purpose. So existing cable cars demonstrate technical feasibility in our difficult terrain. The question is the fare. Ultimate the passenger, how much he can pay. So we have to think on it, and recent discussion increasingly focus on public transport, not only tourism in this regard. Nepal could be a very strong case for ropeway because of its mountain. Road expansion is expensive, and Kathmandu Valley itself faces severe congestion, air pollution, and growing transport demand. But we have to keep in mind the affordability, accessibility, safety, and community engagement as an essential factor on it to develop the. So we have ADB supports. From 2025, we have a project called Kathmandu Valley Urban Transportation System Project, Ropeway. And the project supports feasibility study. The excursion tour was also the part of this TA. So finally, what I would like to say, urban ropeway is proven as a part of mainstream urban mobility. Their strength lies in serving difficult corridors where conventional system, metro or BRT are less effective. Success requires integration with broader transport and urban development strategies. The question is no longer, can ropeway work in cities, but where can they create the most value? So we have to think some lessons for takeaways: integration, affordability, internal capacity building, collaboration, and strong public communication, which are critical for success of Ropeway project. Thank you all.
Thank you very much, Mr. Sharma, for this clear and comprehensive approach of the potential of ropeway projects. And last but not least, I will call here Mr. Jain to express a vision from India and some feedback on a great project, actually, urban cable project in Varanasi. Thank you.
Thank you, Harold. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for having me. Thank you, ADB. Just to begin with, a lot has been mentioned by all my eminent speakers about how ropeways are being implemented in urban scenarios and other tourism projects. So I'll not repeat whatever has been said because prima facie it's all the similar things. So the basic question is no longer is whether cities need better mobility. It's more about which solution fits the best in each kind of a city with all other constraints. So metros and other type of modes have been implemented in various cities, but ropeways enter the picture not to replace metro or other kinds of modes, but they are most feasible where metro cannot go or maybe other solutions cannot go. So this is just a brief comparison of various type of transit mode systems, and we found out that ropeways are much preferable in various parameters. If we have a look of capacity, travel speed, or construction duration, construction per kilometer, annual operation and maintenance. So now we speak about the urban ropeways as financially, as a applicability as a mass transit. So ropeways are applicably, where there's a limited land availability, moderate passenger demand, shorter travel length, and it is complementary to the existing mass transit. This has all been covered earlier. So what makes ropeways viable? Transit-oriented developments, which has been spoken by my earlier speakers, we can have mixed-use development, affordable housings, tourism and hospitality assets, green and public spaces, retail and commercial hubs. So how we can implement, basically, these are my earlier speakers spoke about the financial models. So we can have, in India, we follow two types of models. One is hybrid annuity mode and one is DBFOT mode. So in HAM, basically 60% of the construction support in terms of finance is given by the government of India, and the 40% is being infused by the concessionaire. And in DBFOT, the entire money is infused by the concessionaire. So in view of all the things we have spoken, I will take you to Varanasi, which is being implemented as the first urban transit system in India. So there was a comprehensive plan which was developed, and based on that, there was a network of ropeways which was proposed in the city of Varanasi. So based on that, a pilot ropeway was considered, considering the land constraints, utilities between the two nodal points, that is Varanasi Cant Station and Kashi Vishwanath Temple. So the project length was about 3.85 kilometers. Connectivity was from Varanasi Cant railway station to Kashi Vishwanath Temple. So this gives you the idea of integrated model concept. Then system capacity was 3,000 passenger per hour to cater to the urban demand as well as the tourist demand. Technology we took as monocable detachable controller technology. So based on the various parameters of taking ropeways as a solution, so the limited land availability, Varanasi had medieval, has narrow streets. We have moderate passenger demand, shorter travel length, complementary to the existing mass transit, that is the Indian railway system. And the financing model, we took the HAM, and revenue realization beyond ticketing, because we developed large stations, to get to the non-fare box revenue also. So these are some of the pictures. Instead of just taking as ropeway as a single unit, we integrated it with the entire, existing transport system, and also to generate non-fare box revenue through, lounges, retail, souvenir shops, food court, and other budgetary hotels. Similar. So there were certain challenges which we also faced during the constructions. There was underground utilities. The underground utilities in Varanasi, it is a very old city. It is one of the oldest cities in the world. So there was foundations. Construction impact was basically you found unidentified utilities underground while doing piling or something. So there were regular kind of water leakages, etc., which actually hampered my construction schedule. So the key takeaways from this was to we should have an early coordination mechanism with utility owning agencies, and a comprehensive grand penetration radar systems and every survey, so that you are able to fix your station locations and tower locations to save time and cost. So second was we faced a limited working window. Working and implementing a ropeway project in an existing city with traffic moving 24 hours, dense lanes. So you have to have construction planning aligning with the traffic patterns, and a night window execution with logistics just in time, so that you're able to save time, and construction is more faster. So third were extremely narrow lanes, dense lanes. There were issues of movement of specialized boom, heavy equipments. So the key takeaways is basically to find out modular, customized, and innovative construction techniques, and equipments which can move or make construction more accessible to the interior parts of the city. So this is just a small video which will give you a whole view of Varanasi as a city and how we implemented the ropeway project in the city. There's no sound. No sound? Okay. So. No, so you can, this is just, you can, visually also you can recognize, able to understand what it is. So this is all about Kashi. It is, densely populated, ghats, tourists, and these are the dense lanes. This is the tower construction which we were doing. This is a alternate kind of a technology. In small bits, we constructed a tower inside a residential zone, and this is actually a house. In that, we had to identify a land parcel. This is a private land parcel which we had to acquire. So Ropeways, again, one of the advantages is, you can shift the towers locations based on the land requirement or the land availability, land accessibility as far as possible. So that's the flexibility in Ropeways. So the dense areas, as we have already seen in earlier projects also. So these are the constraints which we had, in developing the entire ropeway system. Crossing the flyovers, taking through the entire city. If you Google image shows you how dense it is. And this the Kashi Vishwanath temple, about 5 lakh pilgrims per day come to this temple. And this ropeway is exactly intermodally connected to the Indian Railways existing system, and there's a seamless connectivity to the ropeway. The person getting down at the Indian Railway system will get into the ropeway system, travel to Kashi Vishwanath, have entire darshan, etc., and then come back to the Indian Railway system and can go back also. So it saves time, energy, everything. And stations, as already mentioned, encompasses the retails, the lounges, the budget hotels. So people can have an integrated feel of everything, and master plan also. The TOD concept, which is also being focused in this project. So all the parameters which we have spoken and discussed during the day have been incorporated in this project to the larger extent which is possible in a city like Varanasi. So just to end, these are the key takeaways. Urban ropeways are more suitable for short to medium length corridors with moderate passenger demand and substantial land constraints. Challenges faced during the implementation offer valuable lessons facing similar urban heritage and spatial challenges. Multilateral financing and innovating funding mechanisms can significantly improve the scalability and implementations where VGF is required. ADB and other multilateral agencies can come forward and get this project implemented. Urban ropeways are the most effective when planned as an integrated multimodal transit network rather than a standalone project. So that's about it, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Jain. Very impressive to see the building conditions, especially, and all the logistic know-how you had to put into the construction, into such a constrained area, and have the project to go through. We are now 15 minutes about from the end of this workshop. I will ask 2 very quick questions to our panelists in order then to open the questions to the floor and have a debate with you on the key aspects you would like to raise on these ropeway systems. So my 2 questions for the panelists, and please just pick up a very quick answer to each of them. So would be from your experience and the different presentations that have been carried out in this workshop. What key success factor you would put forward for an urban ropeway project to go through, key success factor, and what would be the key constraint to overcome in order to have this urban ropeway to go through? Key success factor, key constraints, and I will be happy to hear from you what you pick up for these 2 aspects. Nicola, you have the mic, so please begin. Is it working?
Yeah, it's working. Thank you all. So basically,
the key success factor for urban transport system and cable car system, it has to be fully integrated into the network. So there's three aspects of it. I would say main aspect of it. First of all is physically. We need to have station located close by other network system. Could be metro, above you can have the bus system or train system, and above you can have a cable car station. So when everything is integrated, then it makes it easy to use. Secondly, the fare and payment system is very important for the passengers. It has to be easy to use and very convenient, either with the same ticket, with an app, with a card, something convenient. Without that, if they have to change the ticket, they have to pay every time and stop, it will be very complex. So this is very important. And I would say the most important thing is social integration. We are going to install new equipment in cities who are not used to that. So we have to convince the people this is the right way, this is a good way, this is safe, efficient. This is only, I would say, continuous mean of transportation. You will have a cabin every 20 seconds, 30 seconds. You will not be squeezed in the cabin. So it's compared to bus or compared to jeepneys here, it will be, I would say, more convenient. So convincing the people, educating the people that will be the right solution is very important in the integration. I will just take one example. When people call the station, the cable car station, the oasis, because when they get there, it's like it's quiet, it's calm. And when they go in a bubble, in the cabin, they're away from all this very active city, very dense. And you can be seated for like 5, 10 minutes, 15 minutes trip. So it's just an escape moment in that day trip to go to work. So I think that is the key factor for the proper integration of such a system.
Great takeaways, thank you. Next, whoever wants to take the mic. Thank you, Fortunato.
Ropeways has been trying to promote cable cars in the Philippines since 2014. That's 12 years ago. We have made so many presentations, maybe numbering already around 70, to universities, professional organizations, to LGUs, practically to everyone. But still, Filipinos do not believe that cable cars work. So my idea is, to see is to believe. So bring them to where these cable cars are installed, like La Paz, Medellin, or Mexico. Otherwise, it's almost useless. We've done it 12 years. So like the ones you organized for a Nepali delegation, that is effective because they can see it. But I think the better place to observe that ART really works, I think it's in Mexico. Because now there's 5 lines, there's 4 lines under construction, and the lines are connected to all other modes of transport. So they can see it. It connects to BRT, it connects to LRT, it connects to subway, it connects to another ART. It's very nice. I've not been to Mexico, but definitely I'm going there along with other Filipinos, maybe this year or next year. That's the only way I can think of to convince Filipinos.
Thank you, Fortunato, for this suggestion. So ADB to take it aboard, and we'll see how we can bring a Filipino delegation to a cable transit place. Thank you very much.
I'll go next. So I think in terms of, because institutional capacity always comes up, but I'd like to treat it both as a potential success factor as well as a constraint, because I think the private sector in let's say Nepal has kind of built that institutional capacity, and even if you look in the government as well, I think there's a willingness to actually treat this mode as a potential success case, and there's a willingness to push for it. But then having said that, I think interagency coordination coordination, given the kind of governance structure we work in. It's essential that if we're going for this, in an urban context, that has to be very strong. It can fail if there's no strong interagency coordination. For us, safety has always been the key, and we've been very, pleased to work with, European cable car providers to begin with. There are other parts, who are developing this, but we wanted to go for the best and haven't compromised on it, despite the fact that it can be a lot more expensive. But then safety will need to be treated at a scale level, right? With urban transit, it's not just a, let's say, 2 kilometer, 3 kilometer. Also, the flow is much higher, and you cannot just call your European manufacturer and say, okay, something's gone wrong. Can you send your equipments here, right? So everything has to be ready, right? So I think that safety consideration could be a constraint, and I think that has to be scaled up, and it's doable. The technical part is, I think, doable. It's just how ready we are. The other is regarding community ownership, which I also mentioned. I think that's we've learned it. How do we ensure that there's a community buy-in from the beginning, and how do you integrate that with other modes of transport? So I think these are some of the factors you can take into consideration.
Thank you so much.
Harold, if the same question I have to answer, then that would be the first thing, the perception about the cable car as a mass transport, as a public transport, right? Okay, for the pilgrim purpose or for the touristic purpose, it is fit. But many people, even public sector officials, they think that this is cable car, right? So how could it be the solution for public transport? Car means very low occupancy. Even these cars, they have gondolas, they have capacity of 10 to even 34 people per gondola, right? So sometimes I think we have to change its name, not cable gondola or cable something cable bus like this. A cable car means this could not be a solution for mass transit like this. This is the perception. Okay. So, I mean, we need to change the perception of the people. It could be solution somewhere, may not be everywhere if the length is 30 kilometers, right? The second thing is, even it cannot be the last mile solution if not integrated with other means of transport. So we need the coordination, integration with other modes, as well as the service providers. So there are many service providers, especially in my country, the private sectors, individual service providers. So we need to integrate. For example, within the Valley Transport Authority or something, some entity under that, then integration with the service and the fare system also, the revenue sharing system. So ride sharing and revenue sharing. And third one is how to make it affordable to the commuters, right? It is not the purpose of tourist or pilgrim. They can pay $2 per trip. It is the day-to-day commute, so that probably we should make it within 20 cents for one station, right? This is another challenge. So for the solution, we need to transfer the technology, use the local materials. So our well-known manufacturers are here. So I urge you to operate factory in our region as well, so that it could be less expensive, and ADB for some subsidy or very soft loans to introduce these projects, cable car projects in Nepal. That could be the solution, right? Thank you.
Just summing up the 4 factors which I feel, are key for success of such kind of projects are, administrative support, which is the most important in terms of approvals and, timely support of the administration or the local government. Second is the financial model, financial modeling, how the project is being structured. It is HAM, BOT, or what kind of revenue support is being given. Third is the availability of land parcels, how you are basically designing not as a standalone, but as a mass transit or in an urban development project. And fourth is shifting of utilities. These four things, I think, if are managed, the project is through. It is a success for the project.
Thank you very much.
Yes, it's not. It's more matching the dots, because we see in the tourism that we need maybe less cable car as the snow is melting, and we use still it quite in the summer, but not as much as we did. I was wondering if it's not possible to reuse them for the urban transport, and I don't know, but that's for my colleagues in the panels to know if there is a kind of second hand that exists that could lower the cost, maybe.
So, excuse me. So yeah, this is a possibility, basically, to dismantle and reuse the cable car system. The main issue you would have would be that you will start to dismantle the very old cable car and not the new one. So the capacity will be much lower. So it can be, I would say, a quick fix solution, for sure saving some money, but long term, I would not advise to do so. But yeah, maybe in very specific places where the capacity needs are very, very small, it can be a solution. And we've got some of our old clients who want to dismantle the cable car, and we can reassemble cable car. So this is a possibility to do so. If you hear about like small cities, small places need a small cable car, so we'll be more than happy to study that, and I'm sure Doppelmayr can do the same.
Thank you very much. I know that time is up, but I would possibly like to open the floor for one or two questions from the room. Yes, please.
Hi, I'm Ivan from Alt Mobility PH. So this is a question for Aglé. So if we were to put a hierarchy of public transportation solutions, where do we put ART? So we prioritize pedestrians first, and then is it road-based transport, and then ART, or is there another framework that we could work on?
Thank you for the question. I think I talk about mobility, and it's hybrid, I think. That's what is interesting. Well, now we are talking very in a specialized way, but I think mobility combined different. You walk to the cable car, you have eventually your bike, and so on. But I see that more in the hierarchy as a public transport. Yes. If that's...
Thank you. Any other question before we close up? Please. Or you can go to the mic over here. Thank you.
Yeah, this session is very interesting as an alternative for the urban cable car, urban mobility. This is very important, and I think this could be the one very good option in the future. But beside the construction, implementation of the construction, for the operation, most of the governments are giving subsidy for the operation of metro, MRTs and LRTs. So if, what is the experience of La Paz and Mexico if the governments, city government or central governments are providing subsidies for the operation costs, operation? So if that is there, then I think it has a good future. Thank you.
Thank you.
Take it?
Yeah, if you go to ChatGPT and type what is the most profitable mode of mass transport system in the world, La Paz, Bolivia is on top there. And amazingly, it's government operated. So government can make a cable car system profitable. That's almost impossible, but La Paz did it. So because really ART is a very inexpensive, it's cheap to build and quick to build. So you can really make a profit. How much more if it will be a PPP contract? if the private investors will come in, I'm very sure they will make a profit.
If I may add a couple of things, yeah, there is very, I would say, successful project. Usually what we are used to say, the operating costs are covered by the ticket price, okay? But to reimburse the capex, it's for sure another story. But if the system is well designed and the passengers are using it with the right price level, then you can easily cover the operating cost. Okay. After, we also have to think about other source of revenue, for example, so advertisement in the cabin or other stuff around. But as we need very few people, one guy per station, maybe a couple of security or safety guy to operate the cable car, it's not costly. And in terms of power consumption, because this is a very light system, we don't need much power. So I would say, yeah, we cover the operating cost easily.
Thank you very much. We will have to close here. You can still ask questions on the app of the forum, and we will be happy to answer to these questions. I now thank our panelists. This was a thorough discussions, great presentations, and very different angles to understand how transformative urban cable cars can be in the future landscape of transport of our cities and of the cities of the Asia Pacific area. So happy to have shared all this insight. Very exciting on the way forward, possibly with next tours, but also certainly with next projects to come. Please a big shout to our panelists, and happy to close the Transport Forum with this workshop. Thank you very much.